If you've listened to the news at all in the past few weeks, you know that Ebola is unstoppable, coming for us all, and inevitably going to be the worst thing since the Black Plague. But Mom, I don't want Ebola. Well, you're getting it. Can you get Ebola from dead bodies? If so, what are we gonna do with all of our Ebola corpses? The simple answer is yes, it is possible to get Ebola from a dead body. Ebola is one of those incredibly rare circumstances where a dead body can be unsafe to be around. Ebola is a virus, and it's contracted like this. Person 1 has Ebola to the point they're showing symptoms. Person 2 has to get some of person 1's infectious fluids, blood, feces, vomit, saliva, semen, into broken skin, like a wound, or a mucous membrane, like their mouth, nose, or eyes. Ebola is less contagious than airborne diseases, like measles or SARS. But the further along a person with Ebola is, the more virus in their body and the more potentially contagious they are. That's why we have to be so careful with the dead bodies, because that's kind of the furthest along someone can be, really, because they're dead. This is so hard because my advocacy is, the corpse is your friend. Hello, corpse, come on in, stay, grieve, and heal. But when a wildly infectious disease is involved, it's just not safe to handle and dispose of the dead body with no protection. This has been a huge problem in West Africa, where the disease has killed more than 4,000 people so far. Unlike the modern West, the people there like to be very involved with the death, touching and kissing the dead body. Getting them to break that tradition for the public health is hard, especially when many don't want to admit that it was Ebola that killed their family member. To the second part of the question, what are we gonna do with all of our Ebola corpses? Well, at the moment, we don't exactly have an influx of them. In the US, as of the end of October, we have 1. Compare that to the fact that on average 86 people a day die from some form of gun violence in America. As wiser people than I have said, we have epidemics in this country, and as of right now, they're not Ebola. Does that mean that Ebola can't affect us? Absolutely not, and we should stay vigilant. The Center for Disease Control released a set of procedures for US funeral homes to follow should there be more Ebola deaths. The biggest thing is a full set of PPE, personal protective equipment. This guy right here. Embalming and autopsies are both invasive procedures with lots of body fluid involved, so they're out. Finally, do not pass go to cremation or burial in a sealed casket. Suggestions that we forcefully cremate all of the bodies, either here or in West Africa, against the family's wishes are unfair. If a body is buried properly, it will be fine. I've linked to the full instructions below if you're interested. But what I find troubling are all of the messages, emails, tweets I've gotten over the past 2 weeks saying, how can you advocate for families being more involved in the death care process because Ebola? If your 75-year-old mother in Kansas dies of pancreatic cancer under hospice care, she doesn't have Ebola. Where would she have gotten Ebola? There's no Ebola. We know what death from Ebola looks like. It's horrific. No one has secret Ebola disguised as a sudden heart attack in their sleep. To say that all corpses are dangerous because of Ebola is like saying, don't take your child to a park. A child was kidnapped at a park once. Or don't fly. You have a 1 in 11 million chance of dying. It's Rush Limbaugh claiming that President Obama thinks we deserve Ebola as an atonement for slavery, which he said, by the way. It's fear-mongering, and we're smarter than that. The rule is, treat the dead as you would the living. If the living person had a deadly infectious disease, treat the dead body with the same precautions. But don't let that make you believe that for some reason the dead body becomes more infectious post-mortem. This has been a public service announcement. I'll go back to cat-themed humor next video, I promise. Ask a Mortician is brought to you with support from People's Memorial Association and the Co-op Funeral Home, and donations from viewers like you.